Hey, this is Declan Ryan of who's declanryan.com, and so this is my takeaways of Chapter 7 of Maltz's amazing Psycho-Cybernetics book. And it's amazing just how much extra stuff you get out of reading a book and rereading and rereading. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is my third time reading through Psycho-Cybernetics, and so it really is quite a revelation when you always get different things out of things. So on this occasion I've made up a whole lot of notes which I'm going to be referring to during this video, just because there was just a lot of stuff that I didn't want to miss out on. So it's one of my favourite subjects, is the subject of happiness. Now I've always been very much a glass half full kind of a person. I've always seen the optimistic side of things. I've always been just naturally happy, and with many people asking me, what is it? What is your secret? How come you're always so happy? And I just, it reminds me of the guy that Norman Vincent Peale asked this gentleman about this. I can't remember his specific name, but Norman Vincent Peale in his Power of Positive Thinking, and he asked this guy, "So, what is your secret? How come you're such a different person that I knew you just a while ago?" And the guy said, "Well, I'm no dummy. I just choose to be happy. You've got a choice to be unhappy or happy." And so, very much resonated with me, this chapter. So, getting into it. Now, one of my favourite quotes for a long, long time has actually been one of Abraham Lincoln's quotes, and that is, "A man is about as happy as he makes up his mind to be." Now, when I first saw that quote, I just thought, how ridiculous is that? If you got bills to pay, if you got debtors ringing you up all times of the day, you've got a whole lot of stuff going on around you. How can you choose to be happy? And yet that's exactly what's going to lift you up out of these difficult circumstances. Not choosing to focus on all the negative sides of things, like the debtors that are chasing you, or you've got a really awful landlord, or you've got whatever problems you have. You've got a problem with your car payments. Focus instead on just the happy side of things. You can always find a happy side. It's a question of making a choice, of looking at the happy outcome, looking at what you do have instead of what you don't have, and looking at what you would like the outcome to be, rather than what it is. So as I was mentioning, I've always been, exceptionally healthy. I don't know whether that's I'm wondering if that's associated with the fact that I've always been a glass half full kind of a person. Because I was really interested in to find the connection between happiness and health. With the Norman Cousins story, really touched me. How he was using happiness therapy in the form of the Marx Brothers and the Three Stooges and Buster Keaton. Now, those are amongst my favourite comedians, but associated with that is also happy family memories as well, because we always used to, as a family, gather around these movies on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, and so it was very much a family event. I'm from a large family, and so it was just really quite an event. Now, happiness can actually be produced just by directing your thoughts and your attitudes in the direction of happiness, as I was just covering, irrespective of circumstances. And one of the most significant things I got from this chapter was Maltz's reference to fact versus opinion. Now, circumstances that can happen, which would normally make you think, okay, well, these aren't the best circumstances, and yet it's your reaction to those circumstances which makes all the difference. The circumstances are still going to be the same, the facts are still going to be the same, but it's how you react to those circumstances which is going to actually make the difference. And there was a really great quote here by the Roman Epictetus. I'm presuming he's Roman. I've not heard of Epictetus before, so forgive me on that. And he says, men are disturbed not by the things that happen, but by their opinion of the things that happen. And so it's similar to that, in that a man is not defeated by the defeat itself, but his attitude towards the defeat, and which of course you choose not to call it defeat at all. And you know, circumstances that can happen. Okay, circumstances are as they are. The facts are as they are. You can make them worse just by adding self-pity and by adding your own doom and gloom and bleak outlooks to that. And Maltz comes up with the really good, I'd completely forgotten about this one, the essence of Psycho-Cybernetics is the accurate, calm and ultimately automatic separation of fact from fiction and opinion. Now this was that's you know, really you know, quite a radical thought. You've got the facts, but then you add your opinion onto it, which can either make it better or worse. And now, happiness is best achieved when striving towards a goal. Well, you know, I can completely see that myself. If you have a goal that you're reaching towards, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's personal achievement, or something in your life, when you're striving towards that goal, that is when you're most alive. Now, when that goal has been achieved and you haven't yet got yourself a new goal, you know, there's a bit of a flaccid moment. So I'll really go along with that. Now, he goes on to say, if you form the habit of being goal-oriented and reacting positively and aggressively towards going after these goals, then you're going to be generating far, far more happiness than if you ruminate about the possible negative outcomes to these things. This is something that I didn't get the first time reading around as well. Happiness is not something that happens to you, but it's something that you determine. So it's a question of you generating the happiness inside yourself regardless of the circumstances around you. And this is a theme which he repeats several times in this chapter, just to drill it home. Now, looking at the same second circumstances, you can choose to either react pessimistically with your own prescription of gloom, or optimistically. The same sets of facts without changing them. You can look at them in a different way, and you can choose that different way of looking at them. And so I like this one. He said, you can never be 100% happy all the time. As George Bernard Shaw said, if we were, we'd probably be miserable because life would be boring. But you can come closer to Dr. John Schindler's definition of happiness, which I'll read out as a quote. It's a state of mind in which our thinking is pleasant a good share of the time. I'll drink to that. That's a really good one. You know, maybe that's why I was, you know, permanently happy before, because my thinking was just always pleasant. It was always thinking about, I've always been doing jobs that I really enjoyed doing, and so maybe that happiness was just, you know, infectious to other people. Now, as mentioned before, happiness is a habit, and like any habit, it can be learned, so that you have just the habit of being happy, I beg your pardon, as opposed to the habit of being gloomy, which is what, you know, a lot of people have as a default. And then it's curious because a lot of people, their self-image is caught up in its field, almost like it's shackled, you know, without realizing what the self-image is. And I've felt this a few times myself, but the idea that habits and self-image go together really gives you an insight into how powerful it is to change your habits to happiness habits, because as you acquire a new habit, you get out of the habit of reacting how you've been programmed to react, like you've been through a certain circumstance before, a certain set of circumstances, and you've always reacted in a certain way. Think of any example that you can think of. But if you program yourself, if you change that habit, to react in a different way. Remember, habits can be learned. It's not easy necessarily, but they can be learned. And so once you change your new habit and consciously develop better ones, they in turn affect our own self-image, which changes to accommodate the new better habit. And a staggering 95% of our reactions, habits, and our reactions, behaviour, and attitudes is habitual, habitual, and therefore automatic. So breaking an old habit and starting a new one, it's not easy. It's like any habit, like smoking, like the habit of doing anything. It's not easy, but the rewards of changing that habit are huge. The rewards of changing are, greater happiness. And seriously, who wouldn't want that? Now, what I find at the end of this chapter, that the mental exercises that he gives are amongst the most proactive of the ones you have. You've got the theatre of the mind exercises, you've got the relaxation exercises on previous chapters, but this one is actually a step-by-step checklist of 8 checkpoints for you to do and check off every single day over the next 30 days. And so I'm all on board for that. I did try this, do this before, and I think I've got something out of it. So I hope you got something out of this video again. And if you did, then and you haven't subscribed already, then please subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment down below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Sorry that I rambled on a little bit in this one, a bit longer, but there was so much in this chapter. I'm really looking forward to chapter 8. I'll see you then. Bye bye.